Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. We'll be recording this webinar for the sake of those who are not here. Patrick, please go ahead and start the recording.
Have liftoff. Good morning,
Perfect.
everyone.
All right, so good morning again and welcome to today's webinar. We'll be talking about how to build a form that looks good in handheld devices because it's the trend today is, using handheld devices, mobile devices, iPad, tablets, and what have you. And we want to provide the all the all the easy and the best ways possible to allow users to fill out our info path forms, right? And so that's what we're going to be talking today. But before we start, we have a couple questions to ask you. We just want to get your opinion. I've launched a poll there. We want to know if your organization have a standard mobile device. And yep, we're seeing some answers. Looks like not everybody has a standard mobile device yet. All right. Thanks for that. And I'm going to close that poll now. We've got 63% not using or don't have standard mobile device. Let me go ahead with the second question. Are you using SharePoint online, Office 365, or on-prem? It's in progress. Looks like most users have both online and on-prem, but there's 40% who's using on-prem. That's cool. All right, let's close that out, and thanks for joining our poll. Okay, without further ado, let's proceed with our webinar. Again, we're going to talk about how to build forms that look good on handheld devices. And before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Mel Clemente, and I've been with Qdabra as an InfoPath lead developer, and I'm happy to be back doing this webinar. It's a pleasure presenting to you today. All right, so for today, we're going to start with a sample form. We always tell users to keep a starter template just for, just for easier design and just for easier maintenance as well. You won't have to start things from scratch, right? If your organization uses like templates, maybe 10 templates, right? You'd want to keep a sample form that you can just use over and over again. And then we're going to be using custom style sheet files. We'll add CSS files into our sample form, and that will be the one that will allow us to switch from views, mobile versus desktop views, and you'll see samples of that working later. And then we will set our form whether it will be opened in the desktop or the mobile device by default, and allow switching via buttons. We're going to show you those working in a while here. Then, of course, at the end, I'm going to share some tips for different view resolutions and what kind of font size you'd want to set for your mobile and desktop optimization and stuff like that. So just for a quick preview here, here's how our here's how our form looks like in a mobile device versus on a desktop. This is Qdabra's leave request form, and here on the right, I took the screenshot from my Android phone, so you'll see that things just fit nicely there. It wraps as if you can see all the the entire content in just that small screen, right? While on the desktop, of course, you're provided with a wider view in case you're opening it on a desktop, right? So again, we talked about using sample forms. So this sample form that we have here actually has pre-configured layout tables to make sure that they auto-fit on devices. There's some special manual configuration needed to be done in the XSL files, just so, yeah, however wide or narrow the screen is for that user, everything would just, auto-adjust based on the screen width. So, and aside from that, aside from customization or manual adjustments to the XSL files. We also use CSS for, custom style sheet files just for more styles. It allows us the flexibility to add more styles to our form template, right? So with tags that call table and column classes, so this again is for making sure that our layout tables auto-fit on devices. And you'll see right here the CSS, and I hope this is clear enough. We've got some custom lines here for iPad, for iPhone 6, and by default we're using this desktop. And if you can read CSS, maybe this might look clear to you. So here we are specifying if, for example, a user has 414 pixels on the screen, then follow the style and what have you. So buttons as well, we can customize them, call them in the CSS, and anything, basically anything that you want customized, if you know how to code it in CSS, you can do. So right here, buttons, we are specifying a radius, so all our buttons will have rounded corners, just like here in this screenshot. And of course, Q rules is our favorite weapon, right? So we use Q rules. The command name is called load resource to call that CSS file out.
And
All
just
right.
a quick announcement from Patrick here. We just sent out a link, so you can try the link on your mobile device if you have email on your mobile device, and you can see how it looks on your phone or tablet. Mel, Mel, you still there?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. So yeah, go ahead and open that link, and it should default to mobile if you're opening it from your mobile device, and that's because of some rules that we added on load there. So by default, we set the desktop view under the assumption that most users will be opening the form from their machine, right, from their desktop. Um, but if the form is loaded, it's being loaded on a mobile device because of these rules. This get form property Q rules command is just calling or checking to see if the user agent string, which is the one responsible to find out where which browser the user is using. All right. So for desktop, here's how that the result looks like. And for mobile, we'll see this mobile string right there. And so when that rule detects that string, we have another rule to switch to the mobile view. And that's again calling the QROS command. This time it's called the set default view. So we've got some conditions there. If the user agent string contains Mobi, or and you would want that to be case insensitive, then just switch to the mobile view automatically. And I think you're seeing that um, when you open the link. And even though we're defaulting to either mobile or desktop, we still want that ability for users to switch between views, right? So if whatever is convenient for them to fill out that form, they could switch between mobile or desktop. So these little icons are the ones that should let them do so. Okay. And finally, tips for view resolution, font size, and control. So based from my experience, we'd want to maintain less number of columns because, as you know, the more columns you have, especially for repeating tables, the harder it gets when you want to fill it out in a mobile device with that not so big screen, right? Not so big room to fill out fields. So if you can make, for example, your repeating tables, just use one column, or and then maybe just use multiple rows in that, in that repeating table. In that case, you're going to be using a repeating section, I guess. Then I guess that's your best option. Tables need to be updated in Excel, and I mentioned that already. I'm going to show you real quick later what exactly needs to be updated if you find that interesting. And then section widths, best practice is to always just set them to 100%. By default, if I'm not mistaken, they're already set to 100%, but there may be times that you might have accidentally adjust the size, and it's not going to be it's going to change it to some fixed width, and that will cause a problem. It will not wrap when it goes into your mobile device, even though you've done the other tips in this, the other items in this list. So yeah, set section widths to 100%. For font size, we just want users to see well, right? So the bigger the font size is, the better. But you don't want everything to, just like a single text occupy the entire screen. So 14 pixels is just right for me. Then input labels should go to the top of the control, just so users won't need to scroll from left to right or back and forth just to know what am I filling out right now. Is it the first name? Is it the last name, or my manager's email? So if my label is just right at the top of my text box, then I can always know that I'm filling out my manager's email, for example. Hope that makes sense. And for a demo, let's see how I've got some very simple forms to show first here, just to show how the custom styles, the CSS files, are being loaded. The first thing you notice in this sample form, and I'm opening this in Forms Viewer, the first thing you'll notice is this entire, the table, the entire canvas actually occupies the whole screen, my whole screen there. Unlike you've gotten used to browser forms that have, space or paddings on the left and right here. This has no margins or, yeah, at all. And when I like scrunch this down, my window there changes the background color, so the CSS file is the one responsible for that. And if I go further, it changes to red, and to some more orange and yellow. And you notice that this text box is just wrapping, it's following, oh, I guess not. So this, I haven't manually edited the XSL file here, but I'll show you an example of what has been, what's wrapping. So this one, if I expand my screen, it just follows, right? And just like so, it wraps based on your screen width. So it's a CSS file that's responsible for that, and let me show you the background colors. You'll see here, this is the CSS file that checks the width of my screen. If it's 1000 pixels, it changes the background color to red and orange if it's 800, and so on. So again, we're using key rules for that, and let me just show you, switch you back here and show you to my debug view, which has all the key rules loaded. I guess I need to reload this form since it's been open for a long time. And the one that's wrapping, let's switch view here. So yeah, we're calling the load resource command, and I've got I actually got 3 CSS files added as resource files in this form template. So we've got the BG colors, that's the one that's changing the background colors like so. Purple is, I just decided to place it in a different file, but they could just combine it all, right? So this wrap CSS is the one that allows the wrapping part, and also adjusts whether you're opening the form from an iPad device or an iPhone. This is my wrap.css file. Okay, so let's see what else. And I want to show you our leave request form because that's we want to
No, we're gonna,
show.
just a quick,
Yeah,
sorry, just want to ask you, we're gonna send the attendees the file and a sample form that has it already in it, so they don't have to worry about coding it, right?
yeah. We'll have the all the CSS files in it already.
Great. So people don't need to worry about QROs or about the CSS file. We're going to send you a sample you can use to start your form. If you already have an existing form, we're here to help you modify it to add this if you need help. It's pretty easy to do.
Cool. That's right. So let's open our leave request form. We want to showcase real world scenarios, right, when it comes to form fill-in. So here's Qdabra's leave request form, and I'm pretty sure it looks familiar to most of you guys. It's loading. All right, so again, by default, we are showing the desktop view. So in the desktop view, you can you can have repeating tables, multiple columns as you want. And because there's no limitation to the room assuming, right? So here we provide, and again, if you're opening the form from a mobile device, it should have defaulted to the mobile view instead. But we have this icon right here to allow us to switch to that, and as you can see it, the form just occupies the entire screen there in it, and follows as I expand and as I scrunch it down right there.
That looks great, Mel.
Cool.
Hey, just a quick
Yeah.
comment for folks who are wondering about the 744 hours. When you're opening the link externally, we don't identify who you are, so it's basically a blank user, and that's why you're seeing the 744 hours there, along with all of the people at the bottom. When you open this in your organization, you'll have it opening from an authenticated, Office 365 or SharePoint on-prem, and it will default to you and show your information as opposed to everything.
Right. Yeah, I think that's it for my demo. If anybody has any questions at this point, I guess, or if you're seeing something interesting and you have any feedback or questions, then go ahead and feel free to ask. Let me open up my questions box. Someone's excited. Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy, for trying out. If anyone else tried it out on their phone and they want to give us some quick feedback, please just add a question there. We'll know that you were able to open it on your mobile device. We're particularly interested in people who didn't get to have a happy experience because we've been testing this. Let's see, Frances says she has no sound. Mel, can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a question from Randy, actually from Michael first. How difficult is it to add CSS to your organization if they've not bought QRoles? Not hard, I guess. Jimmy, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, so it is possible to modify the forms, the views in the form to add the CSS in manually. I'm not quite sure how InfoPath behaves with that with regards to whether it would wipe out those changes when you modify the form. Usually it's a bit touch and go when you modify the views manually, but there is that option if you don't want to use QRules.
And let's see, the second question is from Randy. Thanks, Randy. It's good to have you here. Can a quick run-through be done on how to link a CSS file with InfoPath? Let's see. Mel, do you want to show that?
Yeah, sure. So it's just as simple as adding a resource file in your form template. So if you've got the CSS file handy, then just go to the Data tab in the Designer, go to Resource Files, and then add your CSS file. And right here you can see that I've got the bgcolors.css and the wrap.css is right down here. And then we call them via, let me show the rules task pane. Sorry, I should have shown this. Switching to the Qdabra rules, finish loading node. So here is where the rules happen. So we first load the CSS file called wrap.css. I'm not using the background colors in our leave request form. So this is the one that's wrapping when it goes to the mobile view. Then we get the form property to determine the user agent string, which browser the user is opening the form from. Then if it's detected as being opened from a mobile device, then we switch to the mobile view. Thanks for the question.
Randy, hope that, okay, so that looks like it's good. And sorry for responding to the wrong question there earlier. I'm trying to answer another person's post about losing sound, and I think I responded to your post, Randy, saying we could hear you, which is kind of silly. Thanks, Mel. This is a great demo, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to get this webinar up. First, we have a couple minor ads at the end here for those of you who are still with us. First of all, don't forget there's a 2-question survey at the end. We really appreciate your quick rating of the webinar, and if you're interested in help, let us know. Just to end here, we do have the leave request form for you. We provide it as a solution, and that includes an hour of support, plus its money-back guarantee. So if you're really interested in deploying this, we're more than happy to help. Obviously, if we spend an hour helping you deploy it, we're not going to refund that. But it is a cool solution. A lot of people have it. I think, Randy, you might even have the solution, earlier version. So thanks for being here. Let's see, Mel, can you switch to the next slide?
Sure.
Oh, yes, and we're launching from Cape Canaveral. No, that's not Cape Canaveral. That's SpaceX. Way to go, SpaceX. You guys rock. Qdabra Phone is your app. So those of you who are not familiar with QRules, QRules is baked in to the new app, and FormSeer is an app that is meant to provide you peace of mind, right? You're worried about support for InfoPath in 365, or maybe it's on-prem. Rest assured, Microsoft is going to continue supporting you until about 2025, so another 9 years or so. And the reason for that is they shipped InfoPath Form Services again in SharePoint 2016 under the covers, and they extended the support for InfoPath Designer 2013 as well as SharePoint Designer 2013 to align with that release, because there were no new versions of InfoPath Designer nor SharePoint Designer. Those are also supported until 2026. So you don't need to really worry about your InfoPath support, but if you are worried, we have a very easy migration path for you. You install this app. It takes your existing forms as is and lets you view, edit them, use them as is. It's got more functionality than InfoPath, and that means it's got QRules baked in, so you don't need the sandbox to run these commands. You don't need QRules to run the commands that are included in FormSeer. It's very, very low cost to migrate. You don't have to retool your solution, obviously. That's the biggest advantage. And we don't have a fee, a license fee. If you are purchasing on-prem, we do recommend a support plan if you're purchasing. If you're going to go with installation of 365 and you're a heavy user, in other words, you have more than 500 opens per month, then we'll ask you to pay us a little bit so we can keep paying Microsoft for the Azure cloud. But we're not making money off the app. We're making money off helping you and serving you, and that's because we're a consulting company. But we love tools, and this tool's been out. Lots of people are using it, and we hope that you if you are worried about InfoPath, tell your folks about it there. Tell your team about it, and you can install the app. You can test it out. We'd love to have you as a Forms Viewer customer. And that's it for the advertisements. I want to thank Mel again for this wonderful webinar. And we are going to do this again next week. We're going to show you how to debug your forms. Actually, I think Jimmy, who's on the call, will be the main presenter next week. And hope to have you back then. Have a great day. We'll get the recording out in email, and we'll send you the survey and the samples. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.